So in this video, we are going to look at graphing simple and compound interest. So starting out with the simple interest example, we're giving $1,000 over as our principal, and we're investing it for 1 year. And if we were given a simple interest rate of 5%, we would get out an interest payment of $50. In the case of simple interest, this would be something that you could imagine would be mailed to your house. So the company has your $1,000, but they're mailing you a $50 dividend. So in all, you have the $1,000 that you gave them and the $50 extra interest that they gave you. When it comes to the second year, we're going to allow them to keep our $1,000 and reinvest it at 5%. They'll send us another $50 check in the mail. So altogether, over the 2 years, we had the original $50 and the second $50. So we've made $1,100. When it comes to the third year, we're going to let them have our $1,000 investment again, and surprise, surprise, they're going to pay us $50. And so we will have a total of $1,150. And it goes on like this. So if we were looking over a 10-year period, after the full 10 years, we would have $1,500. If I was to graph this, I would see those points of sort of my ending balance as a straight line. So this is sort of a constant growth pattern. As time increases, the amount of my investment also increases proportionally. So this is a constant sort of straight or a linear relationship. Now, with compound interest, it doesn't quite work that way as simple interest. We're going to take the same $1,000 and invest it. But at the end of the year, this $50 investment, the interest that in the simple interest was, let's say, coming to your house in the form of a check, we're actually going to reinvest that in year 2. So not only in year 2 will they get our $1,000 principal again, but also the $50 interest. So at the end of the second year, well, I mean, I wouldn't leave $2.50 on the street, so I wouldn't scoff at this. It looks small, but also our values are kind of small. But yeah, we've slightly made a bit more interest after that second year because we're making interest on the interest. So at the end of the second year, we've got $1,102.50. That whole amount gets reinvested. So we have this sort of interest on interest scenario, and rather than ending with $1,500, we're going to end with $1,628 after the 10-year period because we've made some significant interest on interest. So in terms of what does that graph look like when we're investing it? Sorry, when we're trying to draw it, is that it does start out kind of straight, but then we get this really drastic curve. And it's what we've been hearing, invest while you're young, and, the longer you can let it ride, the more profit you'll end up seeing. So it's in these final years that we sort of see that accelerated growth. And this shape is, this sort of curved rising upwards shape is called an exponential relationship. I just wanted to plot those two, kind of using a different scenario here. So I've got amount and I've got years here, and I'm showing a simple interest with the straight line and a compound interest with the curved line, with the idea that when time is zero, there was sort of a $10,000 investment, but that over time, the compound interest is making more money as it's interest on interest. So let's take a look at the 20-year mark. And the question might be, how much more money is there in the compound interest account compared to the simple interest account? So for a how much more type of question, we could just do a simple subtraction where we might say, okay, there's 40,000 in the compound interest, and we're going to make an estimate here of, let's say, somewhere around, let's say, 23,000. So we could say there's $17,000 more at the 20-year mark. If we wanted to know how many times more, in this case here, we're going to be taking the value in the compound interest and divide it by the value in the simple interest. So we would have our $40,000, and in our simple interest, $23,000. So in this case, we would be looking at 1.74 times more in the compound interest account.